some of the things that our giving does a lot here in the community. But one of the things that I wanted us to have a chance to talk about is the Justice League.
Yes.
Will you tell us a little bit about the Justice League and your role in it?
Sure. Wow. There's
a lot. Sorry.
It's a great dialogue today, right? I think that, just to unpack a little bit, I think that there's been such a poor introduction for white America to the rest of the world, right? Let's start there, right?
That's big.
And when you're poorly introduced to someone, and you're given a set of artificial lies or stereotypes about them, you never really get to know them. That means you're operating from the context of a lie. And then that lie is projected out into your world, and you're asking me to accept that lie, which means that I have to live a lie, and I'm not gonna live a lie. So then when your lie is contested, right, that's when the conversations about the reconciliation happens, the truth, and that's the difficult part. So there's been such a poor introduction for this idea of whiteness, which is broken down to different white ethnic groups, Dutch, Polish, Switzerland, right? It's like this idea of whiteness being introduced to the rest of the world. It's like, man, horrible, horrible introduction. So because of that poor introduction, Black and brown people all over the world for millennia have been subjugated to living a lie, not being their true authentic self. And that looks like slavery. That looks like Jim Crow, mass incarceration, redlining, right? And so what the Justice League is focused on is to help to repair the breach, to be the restorers of the streets that we live in. And to do that through a faith-based model. So the Justice League is focused on gaining reparations for the 46,000 African Americans that are living in the Greater Lansing region, and doing so in three core areas: helping out with mortgages, helping out with education, and also helping out with business. And so over the past year and a half, we've done roughly 36, 37 presentations at predominantly white houses of worship. And what's nice is to see, is to be met with the work that the church is doing internally. So programs like CORE is significant, right? It makes a difference knowing and understanding what your audience understands. So it's so important for churches and congregations to do the work. And then we come in and we say, hey, if you are ready to put your faith in your mouth where your money is, then this is a way that you can help contribute towards rebuilding Lansing. And so we've been doing so much work over this past year and a half, and it's so powerful. I got a chance to meet Tom Arthur, right? And we talked more about what the Justice League was aiming towards and building in the city. And a year and a half later, we are like gaining a lot of momentum.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and recently the Justice League hosted a gathering of folks, an event. And some folks from our core workshops from Sycamore Creek Church went to this event. As I watched the video we're about to watch, I saw just a little peek of Aaron Umstead. So let's watch this video and just celebrate together.
Can I give a small little context? And thank you, Aaron, by the way, for showing up. So in September of last year, the Presbyterian Church USA issued an apology for the sin of slavery and its legacy, and asked that all the Presbyterian churches throughout the nation, acknowledge this. So a formal apology was given, and honestly, African Americans have never received a formal apology, just the acknowledgement
Right.
of the wrongdoing.
That it was wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the apology took place in Spring Lake, Michigan, where no black people live, right? So I'm like, okay, this is great, and when we feel this, but let's bring it to the city. Let's bring it to the city in which I grew up in, right? And so we took that apology to a predominantly African-American house of worship, hosted by David Foreman. It's called Christian Reach Out Center.
Okay.
More than 150 people showed up, and so what you're getting ready to watch is kind of a summary of what happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is, like I said, this is like a celebration of our giving. This is what your giving makes possible through Sycamore Creek Church.
The idea for the Justice League started a long time ago with me in my quest to be a change agent in my community. And the Presbyterian Church has its national meeting. One of the initiatives put forth at that meeting was an apology to African Americans in this country for slavery.
I've always been involved with community development, community engagement, and so it was a natural inclination when Willie Bryan called me one day and said, hey, this is a project that I'm working on. What are your thoughts?
As white Christians, we repent of our complicity in the belief in white supremacy. We have turned our backs and walked away, pretending not to see, yet we saw, pretending not to know, yet we knew.
I've been struck by the responses from my colleagues in the church and in the audience, especially among the black members of the audience, my black colleagues, how moving it was.
I want you to know we really appreciate it. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I want you to know I thank you all, every one of you that came up here and said you were sorry. You thought enough to get up, had the decency, had the courage to get up and say, we're sorry. We're sorry what we did, what my forefather did to you. We're sorry. And I thank God for you.
To realize that my black brothers and sisters and fellow clergy people have been waiting to hear this brings it home in a different way. It's a liberating thing to name the demon.
Thank you, Sycamore Creek Church, for your involvement in CORE and your willingness to show up in spaces like this. It's making a difference in our community and in our world.
I second that.
Thank you.